Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. Can y'all hear me? Is my mic still muted?
You are perfect.
I
I'm
got you, girl.
perfect. Well, hello, everybody. Hi, Rhonda and Erica. How are y'all doing today,
We
tonight?
are just wonderful.
Doing good.
Everybody
We voted.
exercise. Did you exercise your right to vote today?
Yes, we did.
Yes,
Yes,
indeed.
that's right.
Early this morning.
It's a privilege and it's definitely an honor to be able to vote, to go and stand in line and um, not have a dog sticked on you, not be sprayed with a
Yes.
water hose, not be
Yes.
beat with a billy club, but just to go and stand up and exercise your right to vote because so many people who have gone on before have sacrificed so much for us to be able to do that. And so it was an honor and a privilege on today to be able to go and cast that ballot.
You're right about it.
So I hope everybody has had a great day, and I hope that you too, if you are 18 or older, that you went out and voted. And we're gonna take our eyes off of this selection for just a few little minutes, and
Yeah.
we're gonna focus on some topics that are real relevant and personal to
Yeah.
us for just a little while before we get right back to that. And take some deep breaths, and we'll see how it happens
Yeah.
and what goes on. But tonight we're going to talk about expiration dates.
That's
Expiration dates.
good.
Are you operating in an expired season? Are you
Mm.
operating on expired instructions? Are you trying to function and operate in an expired assignment? Or are your
Mm.
connections or are your relationships expired and you just holding on? Well, it's so much that has to go into that. And I just, think about the Bible in Ecclesiastes 3:1. It says, into everything there is a season and a time for every purpose
Mm.
under heaven. So we all have transitions. We all
Mm.
have to shift. We all have to flow and move in the times, but we also have to be discerning spiritually so we can make sure that we're in tune with what we need to do. So, so we can continue to grow and continue to elevate and continue to get to that next level and do those things that we are supposed to do. So when I say expiration date, what I'm talking about is let me get to my little notes here. I'm talking about a date after which something no longer in effect. An expiration date is a date that lets us know when something is no longer in effect. Or expiration date can refer to a date after which something is no longer expected to be of quality or effective, or it's expected to decline. So expiration date. We are all human beings. We are all interconnected. We all have a purpose. We all have a plan. We all have a destiny. But sometimes we get comfortable, we get complacent, and we don't necessarily move when we're supposed to move, stay when we're supposed to stay. So, what do we do in times like this? What are we supposed to do? Well, there are four different topics we'll talk about tonight as far as expiration dates. We're going to talk about expired seasons. A season has to do with a time characterized by a particular circumstance or a feature. It could be a time of preparation, a time of isolation and, being secluded, a time for building, a time for testing trials, a time of loss, a time of gain. So, what season are you in? We're going to talk about connections, which are pretty much our relationship. A connection is a relationship in which a person or a thing or idea is linked or associated with something else. Connections and relationships and how we link up with people can be good, bad. Sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes we connect with people based on our trauma. Sometimes we connect with people based on our good experiences, our bad experiences, things we have in common, where we're trying to go, where we've been, where we're headed. But
Mm.
sometimes those connections expire. So we have seasons expiring, connections expiring. You have instructions expiring. Instructions are detailed information telling you how something should be done, how it should operate or be assembled. So are you operating? Are you flowing? Are you trying to assemble? Are you trying to do things with expired instructions? It's no longer relevant, you know. So we have to be careful about that. And then our assignments. Our assignments are a task or a piece of work that we're given to do. And
Mm.
it's very easy sometimes to be operating in an expired assignment. Why? Because we've gotten used to it. We're familiar with it. We've
Mm.
mastered it. And so are you, where are we right now? In the midst of everything that is going on, are we operating in an expired assignment? Are we trying to flow on expired instructions? Are some of our relationships expired? Has the season transition? Are we trying to hold on, based on what happened in the prior season? So, Erica, I'll let you go ahead and start with that expiration date.
Okay, in the words of the country song, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. And so,
Real Kenny.
yeah, Kenny Rogers. Yeah, that was the jam back in the day. It still is. But you know when to let go of something. How do you know when you're supposed to let go? When you are putting out more than you're pulling in on a consistent basis. In some relationships and in some situations, you will put out more than what you're receiving. But if this is something consistent, it becomes a drain on you. It becomes a burden on you where it affects your life in a negative way. It's time to fold them. It's time to let that thing go. So I think it's really important, especially as people of faith, that we lean on, not to our own understanding, that we seek God and get a peace about when we are supposed to move into our next season. Because if you're operating in something, or if you're doing something and you're out of season, it's not going to flow correctly. There's going to be an imbalance. You're going to be draining yourself. So I think it's really important that we are sensitive to the times that we're in, not just in the natural sense, not just in the political atmosphere, not just, whatever's going on in your family, but you have to know in your life what season you're in so you can know when to go in and when to come out. Because if you're out of season in something, it's going to hurt a lot. Not just you, but it's going to hurt the people around you because you're out of place. If you're trying to fit a piece of a puzzle into a place and shove it, it's not going to fit properly. So it's important that you're in that right place at the right time, or you're going to miss out on something. So know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and just seeking God in everything.
That's good. What about you, Miss Rhonda?
Well, when it comes to seasons, I think about producing. And, when you're in the wrong season, there is no way that you will produce, how you're supposed to or what you're supposed to produce in that season. Just like we have certain fruits, they come out in a certain season. They're planted in one season, they're coming out. And so you have to realize just with your own life, when you're in the wrong season, you're not going to produce what you're supposed to for that time. So it's very important to know your seasons. And the only way we will know our seasons is if we communicate with the one who's instructing us.
Okay, that's
We
good.
know what season we're in. And so it's very important to, even when we're changing, even when we feel that unction of change, it's very important that we communicate to the one who's unctioning the change, so we will know when to actually step out and to do whatever it is, what change we're supposed to make, or do whatever we're supposed to do in order for us to produce in the right season. And so that's very important, is being able to produce in the right season.
That's good,
Have,
Rhonda.
have y'all ever been in a situation, especially a lot of times when it comes to connections and friendships and things like that, where you found yourself being the only one maintaining the connection? Like you're the only one texting, you're the only one calling, then when you're like, hey, wait a minute, I'm the only one keeping this thing alive. I'm the only one keeping this thing going. Hey, overseer, how you doing? Blessings to you.
Hi.
And and so that's happened to me a couple of times. I'm like, I'm the only one that's texting. I'm the only one that's calling. I'm the only
Hey.
one that's holding on. Maybe this thing has expired. Maybe it's run its course, or maybe the relationship has shifted to another particular season, and what was once valuable in that particular season, or what the person had to offer, or what we was pulling from each other from is no longer relevant. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, I'm one of the people like I have issues with sometimes with letting go, especially when there's nothing wrong. You know, um, just even thinking about your straight church, for instance. We all have transitioned through different roles in the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a mimer and a praise dancer, but then the Lord shifted me. I was good at it to, teaching Sunday school, and then teaching children how to praise dance and mime. And then, even though I was good and effective at it, that assignment changed
Mm-hmm.
to now, ministering to people. So it would have been easy to just stay there and be a 41-year-old praise dancer. It
Okay.
was nothing wrong with that. But not on the youth team. If you dancing on
Right.
the youth team, that might be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Dance on an adult team. But what I'm saying is we all transition. And sometimes when we master skills, when we master, things, and we feel good in it and we're comfortable in it, even though our time is expired, even though we can look around and everything is telling us to move on, sometimes that transition of change can be very, very difficult. Have you ever find yourself in that position? Rhonda, I know not you, because you just jump on
She just gone out
you don't
there.
even think
You don't
about
even
it.
care.
You just go with the
You
flow.
ain't scared.
Let her say God told her something. It's a wrap.
She out of there.
I be out before the Lord, like, for real, really,
Like
Lord?
really?
What? I don't want to go. But Ron be like, I'm out. God said, I'll see y'all later. But some people, it's easy to transition like that. But a lot of times, especially in assignments
Mm-hmm.
and with relationships,
Mm-hmm.
it's difficult. Even in
Yeah.
marriage, the way me and my husband communicated and operated at the beginning. How long we been married? 15 years ago? No, 16
15.
years ago. However long it's been. It's been so long now you stop keeping up. All I know, we together.
Yeah.
But
That's what
we don't
matters.
operate the same. We don't
Mm-hmm.
flow the same. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? We ain't 25 years old anymore,
Yeah.
so things are different. So he cannot handle me like he handled 25-year-old
Mm-hmm.
Mary. I can't handle him like I handled 25-year-old Reggie. We had to progress, we had to mature,
Mm-hmm.
we had to grow, we had to go through some things. We had those seasons of trial, those seasons of testing, of instruction.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's just about life's changes.
Mm-hmm.
So what's expired in your life?
Yeah.
What is it that you need to think about, moving
Yeah.
on from? Because even as seasons change, and a lot of times the thing is we have a vision and we get excited and we see things a certain way. And if the truth be told, it doesn't always happen fast enough or
Right.
work out
Right.
like we think it should. And then we start trying to be God's personal assistant. And then we go and tampering things and, delay the process. And
Mm-hmm.
we have to go another route until we can get back on the right course. But at the end of the day, it's all about the appointed time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to transition from season to season, and sometimes instructions to instructions. And then sometimes with the instructions, it's not necessarily that it's expired. It's just that you're not following them. You didn't follow the first season. You
Mm-hmm.
wanted to jump ahead to what somebody else was doing,
Mm-hmm.
or how somebody else was doing it, or what,
Mm-hmm.
moving out of season.
Going through
It's
the
another thing.
process. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you want to make sure that you're not trying to, abort the process, but understanding that everything has an appointed time.
Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
know Rhonda has a Habakkuk blueprint, that talks about the vision, and though it tarries, it says, just wait, it will come to pass.
Mm-hmm.
And in its appointed day and in its set time. But even in that, in order to, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, in order to receive, you got to be able to and be willing to release some things.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know,
And
sometimes you
yeah.
have to shut some stuff down and reposition yourself
Yes.
and really seek the Lord and hear concerning you, because everybody got a plan for you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody probably, in their opinion, they know what's best for you. How what they would have did, what they would have said, how they would have done. They wouldn't have took. No, you got to hear it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
so you can make sure that you're getting to the place that you need to be, because it's bad when you're holding on to things that already let you go.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's bad when you're
Yes.
trying to make something
Yes.
work.
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying to make something work, and then you're trying to function and make it operate on expired instructions.
Yeah.
You know,
And you know,
so
that's why, and
I
it's,
can't. Go ahead.
you know, and that's why it's so important for you to actually know,
Mhm.
you know, like we were talking about the seasons and being and actually knowing what position you're supposed to be in, what season you're supposed to be in. I can remember when I made a transition back to my home church after my divorce. And of course, you know, like you was just talking about people, you know, of course, they knew me from singing in the choir because that's what I did, you know, when I was there. But when I went back, God told me that that wasn't my place. So I sat on the bench until God instructed otherwise. It was no need for me to go and join the choir when I know that's not what He sent me there to do, you know. And so, and if I had did that, you got to think I wouldn't have been graced in that area to even probably make the rehearsals or to even probably fully commit to it, you know, because what He called you to do, that's what He's going to grace you for. And so when I look at that,
Right.
you know, if I sat with patient waiting on that season, and then that's when, you know, the chance to operate in ministry, you know, came about. But knowing why I was sent there, you know, and of course people expect for you what they know of you,
Right.
right?
Right.
So we
Mhm.
know when seasons and stuff are changing, you know, this something new.
Mhm.
You know, think about even with our weather, when certain things change, you know, sometimes, hey, it's snow in April, sometimes it's snow in December. We don't know, but every year is different, right? And
Right.
so, but people, if you go into every year expecting the same thing, you know, you don't allow room for that. And so, and that's what a lot of people do. They expect for you what they know of you. And so that's why it's so important to know what you're supposed to be doing, because it's easy for somebody to pull you into something and here you go stressed out. You can't perform, you can't produce, you know, because you're out of season, you're out of position. And so that's why it's so important to be able to accept being comfortable with people not knowing, or people not being okay with what you're doing. Accept it. It's okay because they have their right. You know, as long as you have that peace within and you know you're following your instructions, you should be okay. And then they'll catch up later. You
Right.
know.
It's not for them to know or to catch up or to roll with you or go with you. It's not for them
Yeah.
to do that. And I think it's important when you're in the midst of that process, where you're on that road to your new place of destiny, your process is different from somebody else's, and you're going to pick up nuggets along the way specifically tailored for you, because God knows your personality. He knows what lies ahead. So you've got to make sure you're picking up those nuggets, picking up those lessons, picking up those instructions, so you won't miss Him. Because when you're traveling along that road, you've got a trajectory, something that's projected, something that's in front of you. And if you don't take the right steps,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to miss it. It's just like what I'm seeing is like stones. I'm thinking Indiana Jones, where they stepped on these little things, and if they stepped on the wrong one, the ground fell out from under them. But just think about it. If you're walking on those stones, if you're paying attention to what God's tell you to do, and you're not walking and you take the right steps, you're going to get to the goal. But if you're not listening, picking up the lessons, take one step, you're listening. Okay, now take two steps that away. And you're not going to take the wrong step, and you're not going to miss the goal. So it's important when you're in that process to be patient. You may stay on one step for a month, for a year. We don't know. But like you said, Rhonda, you got to listen no matter what. And like you said you were not in the choir anymore. That was your comfortable place, but you knew there was something else. So you had to sit back and say, hey, I'm hearing something else. I need to make sure I'm hearing the right call before I just go and jump back into my comfortable place. So it's important that you're listening.
Mm-hmm.
And then don't let people box you into what you used to do based
Mhm.
on flattery. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if
So
you got
true.
issues with flattery and you are with
Mm,
flattery, you know, oh, you were so beautiful doing that. Oh, your voice was this, or oh, I just love what you did. But it's not what God said.
Mm-hmm.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I was good at it. Yeah, that was a season. Yeah, I flowed in that for a while, but now I've transitioned to something else, and that's career wise and relationship wise,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just across the board. Don't fall for that flattery about what you used to do, and you know, and big mama and grandmama used to love to hear you do this or say this or you know, or this and that, and you know, and so then you start feeling good about the compliments, and there you are functioning in an expired season,
Mm-hmm.
functioning in an expired
Uh-huh.
assignment on expired instructions. And Rhonda,
Mhm.
you brought up another thing that was really good about grace. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? It's nothing like wearing yourself down in an expired season that's doing something that you no longer grace to do.
Yes.
Mhm.
And you're
Mhm.
not giving
So
up
true.
because of people, because of you know you're comfortable because it's familiar, you know, and not really wanting to progress on and do that thing that's
Mm-hmm.
new, that thing that's
Um,
scary,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
that thing that's
Mm,
uncharted, that thing that people may
right.
not understand. 'Cause after a while, you come to know that people are not going to understand. And then with every step you take, like Erica said, there's new connections, there's a new season, there's a new assignment, there's new
Mm-hmm.
instructions. And so we have to be in a place where we can embrace the new.
Mm-hmm.
But the expired things, these are the things we have to, because we don't want to buy expired meat. We
Mhm.
don't want to buy expired milk. You know, we don't want to, you
See.
know, buy
Mm-hmm.
expired or rotten fruit, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because you're investing in it. What are you
Okay.
investing? What are you investing your season, your connections, your instructions, your assignment? The common denominator is your time. And time is
Mm-hmm.
valuable. And time is something
Yes.
that you will never get back. You know, you'll never get it back. And so you don't want to be wasting time. We don't have
Mm-hmm.
time to waste. We don't have time for the foolishness. We don't have time for the drama. We don't have time for the
Mhm.
backbiting. We don't have time for the jealousy or
Mhm.
the envy. We don't have time for the nonsense. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
Gone.
At this point, all of us are 40 plus years.
Yeah.
Everybody got
I'm
time
proud of it.
really serious. That latter got to be better, you know, than the
Yes.
former. And
Yes,
I
Lord.
gotta put the
Mhm.
former things away. You know, behold, all things are new. And so you have to put
Yes.
yourself
Mhm.
in a mindset where you're willing to embrace that. Not all the
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna cut these people off and da 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 da. But hey, it's okay. If don't nobody call you, that's fine.
I'm
That doesn't mean
good.
they can live without speaking to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to find something else to do and move on. You know, don't babysit
Right.
those relationships. There ain't no sense in babysitting them relationships. Move on.
Yep.
Y'all went to kindergarten together. Y'all potty trained together in daycare. I
Okay.
understand.
That was in
However,
daycare.
yeah, everybody know how to go to the bathroom by themselves now. So, you know what I'm saying? Keep it moving. Keep moving forward. You know,
Yeah.
make sure that your instructions. You know, if it's not working that way anymore, maybe it's time for some more instructions. Maybe you need
Yeah.
to seek the Lord for something else. You
Yeah.
know, maybe it's not operating. Maybe it's not all coming together for a reason. It may be an
Mm-hmm.
expired instruction,
Yeah. And
and most definitely an expired assignment. Go ahead, Ron.
I was gonna say, and everything, it doesn't even have to be any animosity. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
Part
we
ways and
just,
keep
It's
going.
yeah.
quick. You can end something quick when you pissed off and you mad. Yeah, I can go walk away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Done.
we
right.
should be okay.
But when it's
If
the wrong, that's the most.
yeah.
Yeah. The times I say this a lot, the times that I've had to transition, it wasn't nothing necessarily that wrong for me to leave, but I had to obey God.
Yes.
Right.
I wasn't
And a lot.
mad, but I had to obey God. Everybody didn't understand, but I had to obey God.
Yes.
I got my own trajectory. Like Erica
Yes.
said, my own path, my own life. I got to hop over my own stones,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and go through my own, transition in life. And we all have a path to
Mm-hmm.
follow. And so we have to really be careful, and learn how to adapt to change and learn how to adapt to what is new.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any comments, Rhonda, that you see?
I think it's good
Yeah.
too that when you're in a new place that you have to trust that where you're going, all the provision is going to be there when you get there. That stops us from getting to where we're going a lot of times because we can't figure out the whole picture. But if you're trusting God and believing this is the path you're supposed to take, the provision is going to meet you there. So we can't let that stop you. And I know, Rhonda, you can attest to that because that's your whole life, you know. So you just, you know, you have to trust that the provision is there and not let that hinder you because, you know, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest things with me with what was a struggle with faith and stepping out is that I have an analytical mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to figure it out. I have to process. I
Mm-hmm.
got to have a little bit of control so I might perceive. I got to know the S to the
Just a
Y to
little
the
bit.
Z, what's going on here, who's going to be there.
Yeah.
You know, how
Yeah.
do I interpret this? You know, I want to know so many details, but part of my testing and part of my a big part of my walk with God was that go with the flow type thing, that
Mm-hmm.
move with it and not know.
Mm-hmm.
And I can honestly say the Lord has never forsaken me. It's always been provision. It's always been divine connections.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes, it has
it's
been.
always been, you know, another set of instructions on what to do
Mm-hmm.
and how to get those things done, and just walking out that purpose.
Mm.
Like it or not, walking out that purpose. Say what you
Yeah.
want to say.
Yeah.
Walking in that purpose.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who cares? Walking in that purpose.
Look,
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
Tiffany says she got the same problem.
Yeah, that analytical mind and that faith, man. That's a tug of war with folks that got to know, because we got to know, we got to figure it out, and you know and being an over and then analytical, you tend to overthink. And if you don't break yourself from that habit, you can talk yourself out of a whole lot of divine connections and
Mm-hmm.
opportunities.
Yeah.
You know,
True.
and because you'll sink yourself into a place of stagnation
Mm-hmm.
where you're not moving, you're just thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Because you know, and
And
then
then you find yourself 2 years, yeah, 2 years,
uh-huh.
3 years later, you still thinking about it. Go
Yep.
ahead.
Because I was gonna say, you know, sometimes too much knowledge can stagnate you. You know,
Yes, you can. Yeah.
it'll cause you to turn down things because the thing about it is some things you have to realize that are only gonna unfold, you know, once you
As
start
you walk. Yeah.
walking and tapping into it, you know, and some
Right.
things we have to realize, um, how to put it, the outcome will be different only because you stepped in it. You know, you're looking
Exactly.
at something from the outside and you might
Mhm.
know about a certain situation or
Yeah.
a certain thing or a certain place or how stuff operates. And that might hold you back from actually walking into what you're supposed to because you know too much. And seeing the
Mhm.
whole part of it might
Mm-hmm.
be you stepping in. If
Yeah.
that's your ordained place, that's your ordained
Yeah.
assignment. When you step in,
You
you
make
will
it.
cause the change, you know?
Right. There you
So that's why
go.
some things we don't need to know. We just
Yeah.
need to walk. We just need to let it unfold as we go.
And be the change.
Yeah.
And it's excitement in not knowing.
Mhm.
I like seeing things come together, you know, come right before my eyes,
I
like
like the process.
starting from nothing and come. I like it. I do.
We need to put that on a t-shirt. Be the change. I like that, Rhonda.
Be the change. I mean,
Yeah.
when you
You know,
think
we
about
say we
even
walk
like,
by faith. We walk
but
by
think
faith
about
and not
even
by
like
sight. But
careers.
yeah,
Yeah, think about
yeah,
careers. Think
walking by
about your
faith.
assignments, careers, and paths like that. You know, you got to think our assignments. You have to be even in your career anointed to do what you're doing. You
Right.
know, or you're gonna feel like you're stressed, or you're gonna feel like this is not my place. You know, even when it comes to that, you gotta know that hey, I'm gonna know because everything we do is supposed to be affecting others. You know, or what
That's
our
right.
change could be towards others, whether
Mhm.
it's in our careers, whether it's in ministry, whether it's in our families, or whatever. We have to know that we're in that right season to know that we are doing what we're supposed to do here, you know. And so you got to think, like, am I anointed to do that? Am I anointed to care for patients? You know, am I anointed to sit there and listen to people problems all day long? Is that what I'm called to do?
Yeah,
you
because
know,
if you're not going to do very well at it.
you're not.
Yeah.
So you got to think. He will grace you to do it. So all of that plays a part in it. Knowing that assignment.
Absolutely.
Let's
That's
do it,
true.
Rhonda.
Walking by faith and not by sight, but needing all the details. Oh, I walk by faith and not by sight. Hallelujah. Now, can somebody tell me all the details, please? We're very strange people.
hmm
Very
We're
strange people.
peculiar
Yeah.
We
people.
are. Now
Peculiar.
I have always claimed to be like a faith person, but it truly, my faith was truly tested when I went through my divorce. That's when I really realized how much I was not walking in faith. It's easy to say it when you have the money. It's easy to say it when everything is laid out. But when you go through a change and you have to solely depend on God
Right.
for instructions, you have to solely
Right.
depending on Him making a way, depending on Him making sure all the bills are paid,
Right.
depending on Him. When you have to really get to that point to where you say, okay, Lord, now how do I pay this with this and make this stretch and then keep
Mhm.
this? Or even when it comes down to what do I buy in the grocery store? I mean,
Right.
things of that nature, I really realized how much I was really kind of just really solely walking in my own strength and
Yeah.
not faith. Because I would hear instructions,
Mhm.
and once the ball get to rolling, it's like I'll take off.
Yeah.
And I would neglect to stop
Mhm.
and consult again for the next instruction.
Right.
And so, but when I went through that caused me to have to listen. Then I had to go back. Once they got the rolling, I had to go back. Okay, what's my next step?
Mhm.
Okay, what's my next step? And that really trained me and really showed me how much I was not walking in faith.
Mhm.
If I could plan the whole thing out,
And
I could get an instruction and I could see it all the way to the end. I wasn't in faith. And then when
right.
I realized, like, okay, this is it. When I hear an instruction, now I don't know what the next step is. I have no choice but to go back to Him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
you really realize that how much
That's
we don't
good.
walk in faith.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to things being expired, and like I said, with the seasons,
hmm
connections, assignments, instructions, you gotta
hmm
check yourself. You gotta make sure that you're not holding on to things that you need to let go of.
hmm
You know,
Right.
a lot of times, especially with these relationships, did you connect in the midst of trauma? Did you
Mhm.
connect
That's
just because
good.
things were good in your life and you had money at that time?
Mhm.
Did you connect, or did you receive a particular instruction or assignment to get you through a certain season? And now that season is
Mhm.
past, but you're still functioning
Still
like
do.
you in that season, just like a married person still
hmm
functioning like they're single, and that
Mhm.
season is over.
hmm
It's all about transition. It's all about moving forward. And so we definitely have to trust God in that. So that's all that I think we have for tonight, ladies. Y'all got anything else to say?
Great topic. Brought out some great
Expiration
points.
date.
Enjoy the
Check
conversation.
your
Yeah.
expiration date.
I enjoyed the
Check your
conversation.
expiration date. Yeah. All right. Well, we want to thank you all for joining us for Life in Sync, Real Women, Real Talk, Real Life. Make sure you're living life in sync. Check those expiration dates, and we'll see y'all next
Yes.
Tuesday. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.